Welcome to the operating system class, and today we will start with a new topic, and the new topic titled as operating system calls. So system call is nothing but if we want to provoke a service to the operating system, you should convey our request, we should convey our transaction to the operating system. So operating system understands if the request is in form of the system call. So users are there, and users, they are going to give a system call to the operating system, and operating system, it is going to process the system call. Then again it is going to convey the same to the users. So what is a system call here is that it is going to be a programming interface to the set of services whatever the operating system is going to be provided. So in general, system calls, they are represented in C language, or they are going to be processed in C++ language. And second thing, how these system calls are accessed? System calls are accessed via the application programming interfaces. So where are these application programming interfaces, or how are they are going to be accessed? They are going to be accessed via the users. Now, how user is going to make access of an system call? So system call, they are going to be with an application programming interface, and it can be via Windows, nor it can be via Unix, and nor it can be via software where people now they are going to call here as a Java application programming interfaces, nor they are going to call it as a Java virtual machine. So system calls are the requests to the operating system which are going to be processed by the user at the high level, and these system calls, they are done using the C or C++ language, and they are going to be done with a graphical user interfaces right now, and it can be via Windows API, nor a Unix API, nor a Linux, and now the C and C++ APIs, now they are migrated towards the Java platform with Java virtual machine and all. So here is an example of how a system call is going to be processed. The first example is going to tell there is a source file and there is a destination file, and now how will be the sequence of actions in a system call? So the first action was, we will be assuming the file concept in C language. So when we are going to say a file concept, the first and foremost primitive, we will be saying that file should have a open operation and file should have a close operation. So this is the first and this is the last, and in between that the entire service operation has to be done. So if I am going to have a file towards an input, then it can be for a input mode. If I am going to have an output for an output mode, then I am going to have it as an output mode. Next one, what operations we can make? We can make a read operation, we can write a read write operation, nor we are going to make a write only operation. So with the read mode, with a write mode, and with a read write mode, the content whatever is there in the input file, this content is going to be migrated towards the output file. So this is the basic operation where a file is going to take place. So here you can see that the first step, it is going to mentioning acquire the file input name. So whatever file you are going to use it. Next one, we are going to say whether it is going to be retrieved via prompt over the LCD or LED or a monochrome or a CRT monitor. So we are going to say acquire the input file, writing the prompt on the screen. Then we are going to say get the input data. So how we are going to get the input data? We are going to say, we call it as accept file. So now we are going to take the input file. Now this input file, now you have to move it to the output file. So how I am going to move it to the output file? So output file, acquire the name of the output, where you want to put the file content, where you want to store the file content. So we are going to have the acquired file name, and then we are going to repeat it via the interface where it is going to take, that is write the prompt to the screen, and then whatever inputs are there, those we have to move it to the output operation. So we are going to say it is as accept input. Now here we are going to say open the input file, and if the file doesn't exist, then we are going to say close the operation. That is nothing but we are going to abort the operation, suspend the operation. So similarly, if the output file is not also existing, then again we are going to say abort the operation, and we are going to say repeat it until the first line to the last line of the file is going to contain. So file, we are going to say it is nothing but some set of records, and if we are going to call it as a records, then we are going to call it a set of some fields. So which these fields, they are going to be represented in form of rows, and these fields, they are going to be in form of columns. So we are going to maintain a file structure, and file structure is going to be in form of records, and records, they are going to be organized in rows and columns. So each row has to be transferred from the input file to the output file. So that is the agenda where the source content has to be moved to the destination content. So we are going to say loop the operation. We are going to make the repeat the operation. Once we are going to make the repeat operation, then we are going to say read the file, write the file until the read is completed. That is the read files. So okay, all the input content is migrated to the output content. Now we are going to say read the file, that is failed, and finally we are going to say that file content has been transferred, and as the job is done, we are going to say close the output file. So in this way, we are also again working on this exception handling to see that there is no abnormal termination. We are going to have the genuine close operation over a file. So what I was emphasizing is we have a open file and we have a close file. Then we are going to have an input file. Then we are going to have an output file. Between the input file and output file, we are going to do a read operation. Here we are going to write a write operation, and thereby we are transferring the data. We are going to transfer the data from one file to another file. So that is how a system call is provoking in a file operation. So as far as system call is going to be concerned, it is going to maintain some table, nor it is going to maintain some index. So every system call is having some unique ID, and that unique ID, it is going to be maintained in a hexadecimal code. It is going to be maintained in hexadecimal code. So when we are going to call it as an hexadecimal code, then we are going to say it is base 16, and it is going to start with X there. So system call implementation, basically the interface is going to have some IDs, and these IDs, they are form of application programming interface. Every ID is going to be represented in form of this 16-bit, the hexadecimal number system. So here you can see this the diagram. So how a application programming interface is generating a system call, and how is the relationship between the system call interfaces. So we are going to have this mode. We are going to have this mode as an application program, and this application program is going to be executed in user mode, followed by the application program has to be transmitted to the operating system mode, and this operating system mode you are going to have it as a kernel mode. So where we are going to get the system calls, these system calls, they are going to be part of a user mode, and where we are going to have a kernel, so where that is the location where the operating system is going to be done, so that we are going to put here as a kernel mode. Now user commands, user instructions has to be transmitted to the operating system. It has to be processed, and it has to be given back to the user application. So for that we are going to have this we are going to have this system call interfaces. So system call interfaces are generally the instructions or the commands to the operating system what we are going to have. So we are writing some high level language, we are writing some assembly level language. So why we are going to write the programs in assembly language, or why we are going to write the programs in high level languages? The hardware can't understand. The hardware has to be programmed in such a way that the user's project, in such a way that user application has to be executed. But those things, they are going to be in binary number system, they are going to be in hexadecimal system. Now you need some interfacing unit, you need some application programming interface which converts our high level data which is in source form to the binary or other ASCII characters and to be get processed. So for that we are going to use these interfaces. So user, he is going to open his application and he is going to process it, and thereby the relevant content whatever the user wants is going to be processed in the operating system. Its functionalities are processed, and once the process has been done, it is going to be given back to the user. It is going to be given back to the user. So this is how a relationship between the user mode and the kernel mode is going to take place. I will just recapture again. I'm going to say whatever programs we are going to write, those programs we are going to do it at a user mode, or we are going to call it as a shell mode. So in the shell mode, people can communicate with the operating system. And how they are going to communicate? They are going to communicate with an application programming interface. What this application programming interface will do? It converts all our instructions into system calls. Why it is going to convert into system calls? Because operating system routine is going to be executed in system calls only. So now the user program is converted to the system call. Now system call, it is going to request a set of operating system services to the user. How it is going to request? It is going to request using an interface. Okay, to where this interface is linked. Interface is linked to the kernel. Why is it linked to kernel? Kernel is a position where the operating system is going to live. So the people program, people jobs, users, they are going to live in user mode alias kernel mode. Operating system, hardware, its functionalities, its services, they are going to be relied on kernel mode. So you need a communication media to link the users to the system. You need a communication media to link the shell to the kernel, not to the kernel to the shell. So both these vice versa operations has to happen. How is this vice versa operations to happen? It is happen only in form of system calls. It is happen only in form of system calls. So system calls are nothing but instructions. System calls are nothing but commands. System calls are nothing but protocols which establishes a quick relationship between users and the operating system to get their services done, to get their jobs executed. So for that we are going to have the relationship in form of system calls. So now this is interesting here, and how the system calls are navigated, or how the system calls are processed towards the user request. So there are ways where users can pass parameters, to the operating system. So now I will just recapture you passing parameters in C. Okay, now I am writing here passing parameters in C. Okay, now I ask you, one or two students, unmute yourself. Now tell me, what are the different techniques in passing parameters? Yeah, one or two, you can unmute yourself and then tell the answer to this question. Passing parameters in C, how many ways are there? Yes, please. Can you unmute yourself and tell passing parameters in C? Anyone?
Functions. Through functions.
Through functions. Okay, got it. Now, what is the mechanism in functions?
Is by value.
Yeah,
Call
got
by
it.
value for the reference.
Call by value. This is the
Call
first
by
technique,
reference.
and this is called as call by reference. Okay, then Then the subcomponent, we are going to call it as call by address also. Okay. So these two, we are going to work with pointers. These two elements, we are going to work with pointer variables. Then we are going to call here as call by value and call by reference. The first mode here, we are going to have a variable called as A, variable called as B, and we are going to have a function called as swap. So swap is a function with variable A comma B. Now tell me, what is A comma B called as? Is it an actual value or a formal value? Is it an actual parameter or a formal parameter? So we will call here as, yeah, they are called as actual parameters. And yes, and where are they gone? They are gone to a function, and this function is going to have another set of parameters. So those set of parameters, they are called, assume as x comma y. Now what is x comma y called as? X comma y is called as
Formal parameters.
Yeah, they are called as formal parameters. So in C language, we have passing parameters in 3 or 2 mechanisms. The first mechanism is we are going to exchange the variables. The first mechanism is we are going to pass the parameters, exchange the parameters from the system call, from the function main body to the sub body. In the main body, we are going to have here function call. Function call. Here we are going to have it as function body here, and this is what we are going to call it as main program, and this element we are going to call it as sub program. Okay. So we have a main program architecture. In main program, we are going to have a function call, and in function call, we are going to have the actual parameters, and these actual parameters, they are reflected to the formal parameters by calling the function. So the function is called externally, so we are going to call it as a function call there, and the actual parameters, they are mapped to the formal parameters, and that is how a value is going to be moved from one location to another location. We were emphasizing that many times. So that is the first technique. And this first technique, it doesn't need any pointer variables. The first technique doesn't need any pointer variables. Whereas there are 2 more techniques. One technique, we are going to pass the pointer value called as asterisk. Another technique, we are going to use the pointer value for address location. So referring the address location, we are going to give it as ampersand. So the 2 other parameters via pointers, one it will be the ampersand, and another it is going to be the star operation. Okay. So main body is there, sub body is there, main program is there, sub body is there, function call is there. But in the first technique, we are passing only the values. In the second technique and third technique, once we pass the addresses, another we are going to pass the references. So in C, we are going to have these 3 terminologies. Now the function, the system calls in operating system also uses the same mechanism. In fact, operating system is written in C language. In fact, operating system is written in C language, and it is going to use the technique to derive the system calls using call by value, call by variable, that is call by address, nor call by pointers. So using these 3 techniques only, the system calls are going to be raised. So here is a diagram, you can assume that. So this program, so this part what we are going to mention, it is going to be the kernel space. It is going to be the kernel space, and this part we are going to call here as a shell. So in a shell, we are going to have the user interfaces, and here in the system space, we are going to have the kernel, and that one we are going to call here as an operating system. So now we can assume that we are going to have the passing parameter via table, that to the system calls are going to be processed. That to the system calls are going to be processed. So here we are going to generate a system call, put it into a register, and after passing it into a register, now we are going to mapping it to the location in the operating system. Now I was mentioning every system call is having a code. Every system call is going to have a hexadecimal code. If I am going to write it as 13, now I write it as 8421, then I am going to write 1101. So 1101, I am going to point it out here for 13. So system call, it is going to represent it in a hexadecimal code, and a hexadecimal code for this 13, it is going to be raised as 1101. So in this way, we are going to pass the value from, so this location, we are going to call it as actual parameter. This location, we are going to call it as actual parameters, and this location, we are going to call it as formal parameters. This location, we are going to call it as formal parameters. So first one, the location where the user he is going to give his program, we are going to call it as an actual parameters, and where they are going to be mapped at the operating system side, we are going to call it as formal parameters, and the local variables are mapped via the registers, via the temporary storage devices, that is the registers, and they are transmitted to the system space. There the data is going to be processed, and again it is going to turn back to the user space. So the passing parameters we were mentioning, one we are going to call it here as call by value, another we are going to call it as call by reference, another we are going to call by address. So system calls, they are provoked with a code, and that code usually it is going to be in hexadecimal number system. So here you are having code number 13. When it is going to say some 13, so of course 0 to 15, whether it is a binary, whether it is an hexadecimal code, the same number retains. So here you can see this 13 is the code. Now here you can see a simple C program, and this simple C program, it is going to use call by value technique. The simple C program, you can see it is going to use the call by value technique. So here you can see the first project here. So this is the main body, what we are going to tell. This is called the main body, and in this main body we are going to have int z is equals to 27, and now this we are going to have do it. We are going to have a do it function. We are going to have this do it function, and this is called as a function call. And now we are going to pass z here. So z we are going to call it as actual parameter, and z we are going to call here as an actual parameter. Now when do it has happened, then it is going to turn to the function. We are going to call here as a function body here, and this one we are going to function body here. Now x, whatever x we are going to show, this x we are going to call here as formal parameter. We are going to call here as a formal parameter, and it is going to be processed, and then there is returning of the value here. So now you can justify how the operating system is going to process in the same model. So this program we have taken up in a C project, in a C program, but how exactly the operating system is going to do, it is going to do in the same fashion. So this part, the user part is there, and in this user part we are going to have the parameter passing, and that is where we are going to call it as shell, and system part we are going to call it as kernel area, where operating system is going to do, and it is going to have the registers. It is processing the things in registers, and it is going to use the system calls to do it, and then it is going to get the services from user mode to the system mode. So that is how the call by value is going to take place. Next one, we are going to have here call by reference. So second one, we are going to have call by reference. So we are taking the same example here. Again, we are taking the same example here. Now you can notice here I was mentioning it as do it of z. So this one I am going to call it as actual parameter. Now what is happening you can refer here, instead of x, it is going to take it as ampersand of x. That means we are going to have a address. We are going to have the pointer here. We are going to use the pointer there. So the passing parameter, it is going to take the pointer method. So that is the second scenario where system calls are going to be processed. Third example we can see. So in the third example, now again, I am going to say do it is a function, and in do it function, we are going to say ampersand of z, that is you are passing the address of variable. We are going to pass the address of variable, and what we are going to map here, we are going to have the reference. We are going to have the pointer reference, and that pointer reference is focused as asterisk, here. So you should understand the passing parameters. So this is another way of passing parameters, and this passing parameters is via the reference. So these are the three techniques what C emphasizes, and the same three techniques are going to be part of the operating system also. So we were discussing that the operating system is going to work with the system calls, and system calls, they are going to have the three methods. They are going to have the three methods to pass from user space to the kernel space. So how was these three methods done means, one we are going to call it as call by value, and second method we are going to call it as call by reference, and third method we are going to say another call by reference. Earlier we are going to use it asterisk, that is the address variables, and now we are going to directly work with the pointer variables. So this is how the two ways is going to take place. Now coming to the last approach of passing parameters in an operating system. So that is what we are going to say. It can work with stack. It can work with stack, and if it is going to work with stack, it is having two primitives. One primitive it is going to do as push operation, another primitive it is going to use it as pop operation. And the principle what stack is going to work is last in first out. The principle what the stack is going to work, it is going to be in form of last in first out. So we say here is as push and pop as an operations, and this is the principle what we can say the last in first out operation. So we are going to assume stack as a pile. So A, B and C here we are going to say. So if we are coming out the content, then we are going to say it is popping out. When we are going to add the content, we are going to this one, we are going to call it as remove the content. Here we are going to say add the content. So adding the content into the stack, we are going to call here as push mechanism, and removing the element from the pop, we are going removing the element from the stack, we are going to call it as pop mechanism. So this push and pop, they are going to work with a interface, and that interface we are going to call it as TOS, that is nothing but top of stack. So first thing we are going to call it as call by value. Second thing we are going to call it as call by address, call by reference. That is one we demonstrated using asterisk, another we demonstrated using pointer variables, that is asterisk and the second one was star. And third way of demonstration of system calls working will be via the stack operation. When we are talking about stack operation, the primitives of a stack operation will be the push operation and pop operation. So in push operation, we are going to insert the elements. In pop operation, we are going to remove the elements. Either a push nor the stack will be done at only one end. That too, it is going to be done on TOS. So only either a push nor a pop will be done with a common identifier, that is TOS, top of the stack, as it is going to be done at one-way entry as a bottleneck entry. So here we can say the stack operation. We can say the stack operation bottleneck. So as it is a bottleneck operation, now the principle of stack operation will be last in, first out. The elements which are entered at the last, only they can be popped out. So that is where we can assume the scenario of last in, first out. So, in this we had a discussion today. We have a discussion with system calls, and in this system call, we were telling that system calls in operating system, they are done using C and C++ or a Java application program interfaces. Then we talked about the file communications and with the open file and close file. Later, we were telling that the APIs, they can had a establishment of communication between system mode to kernel, user mode to kernel mode, and how these are done. It is done in 3 approaches, that is with actual values and formal values. The first approach, we talked it as call by value. So here the value is going to be exchanged from source to destination. Next, we have talked about this. We have talked about the pointer locations. That too, we approached in pointer locations. We approached 2 mechanisms. One with the ampersand mechanism, that is call by reference, and another call by reference with the asterisk mechanism. That too using pointers we discussed. And the third way of passing the parameters to a system calls will be via the stack operation. Stack operation, we mentioned it as a bottleneck, and 2 basic operations on a stack will be to insert and delete, and the primitives to insert and delete from a stack will be push and pop. That too, it is done at a bottleneck. So it is horizontal with a principle called as last in, first out, which is noted at LIFO. So that is from this slide. So after this, we will be having one more scenario. That is, we'll be having one more scenario. That is, this scenario is going to talk about the different types of system calls. So this scenario, it is going to talk about different types of system calls. So previous topic, we just brought before you what is a system call. So people have request, and that request has to be communicated to the OS. You need some language, you need some protocol, you need some interface unit. That is where we told it is a system call. People will get their services done to the operating system to the system call. Now the question is, how many types of system calls are there? So it need not be confined to only one. I just mentioned it is 13, but only one system call will not take at granted. So turning on a computer is a system call. Shutdowning a system is called as a system call. Putting the laptop in a sleep mode, we are going to call it as a system call. Putting the mobile in a silent mode, it is called as a system call. So opening a file, closing a file, reading a file, writing a file. So any operation which we done with a mouse click or a keyboard, everything is assumed as a request to the operating system. That requesting mechanism, we are going to call it as a system call. Now, how many types of system calls are there? So that is the discussion which has to be taken up as of now. So the first category of a system call, it is going to be the one we are going to call here as process control system call. The first category of system calls will be the process control system calls. So I was just mentioning you 2 terms. First term, we are going to call it as program. Second term, I am going to call it as process. The nickname for a process, we are going to call it as job, nor we are going to call it as task. Either we call it as process, either we call it as job, either we call it as task. The same is replicated. Now, when we are going to call it as a program, then it is going to be called it as passive entity. And when we are going to say program under execution, we are going to call it as a process, and that is where we are going to call it as active entity. So if we are going to put it in our secondary storage devices, then it is going to be stored there. We call it as passive entity. When we brought it for execution, then it is going to be called it as active entity. So that is the distinction. So process is one nickname, job is another nickname, thread is another nickname, and task is another nickname. So if the program is stored in hard disk, if the program is stored in hard disk, or if the program is stored in secondary storage, then we are going to call it as passive entity. If the same program is brought to random access memory, that is, it is brought to primary memory, then it is going to be called as active entity, and the active entity is under execution. So it can be called as process, it can be called as job, it can be processed as thread, nor it can be called as task. Now, what are the different commands in system calls? So it is very, very easy for you to understand. That is creating of a process. Okay, process is created. That means you created a open brackets. Now what is your aim? Definitely you have to put a close brackets. That means you are going to create a process, nor you are going to use a end a process. So that is creating a process, terminating a process, suspending a process. So suspending a process we are going to call here as an abort. We are going to call it as abort. Now process is there, and process has to be moved into the memory. So process is there, and this process you have to move it into the memory. So how it is moved? It is going to be moved with an operation called as loader. So loader is a system program. Which loads the program to make it get executed. So how it is going to do? It is going to be done with load instruction. So instruction is nothing but we are going to call here as a system call. So system calls, you can call it as instructions, you can call it as protocols, nor we can call it as commands. So whatever buzzword, different textbooks, different authors, they will write their own perceptions. So you can call it as system calls, we can call it as instructions, we can call them as protocols, we can call it as commands. So in the process management, we can say that a process can be created, process can be terminated, process can be ended, process can be suspended, that is aborting, process can be loaded, and process can be get executed. So when it is going to be executed, it is going to be said run. So it is going to be done with a compile operation. After a compile operation, it is going to be done with a run, and it is going to say display the output. Then it is going to display the output at that case. So now we are going to say get the process attributes. So in C also, when we are working with the files, we get two primitives, one getw and setw. So set file and get file. So we will be getting the process attributes. So what is process attribute? So process attribute is nothing but whether it is a read mode file, whether it is a write mode file, nor whether it is a read write mode. That is nothing but whether it is a append mode file. So you have to bring that scenario, whether it is a read operation, whether it is meant for a write operation, whether it can do both an appending mode. We can do a read operation or a write operation, you can mention it. So that is where we are going to say get process attributes. So as it is under execution, you can say some wait for some event, wait for some signal event, etc. So we are going to say that this program wants some IO. Now the program needs some input operation or an output operation. It needs some interference from the user. So what it is going to do, it is going to put in a state, and that state we are going to call it as wait state. So when it is going to be in wait state, it is going to say wait for time, nor it is going to say it is wait for event. Now again, deactivating the wait state, we are going to call it as signal state. So if you can see the traffic signal lights, so red bulb, they put it as wait state, and whether we are going to say green light, then we will go forward. That means we got a signal state. So the process is temporarily halted at that position. Then we are going to call it as wait state. When the process is again re-rolled back, then we are going to call that state as a signal event. So later on, a process needs some memory. We are going to call it as allocation of memory. Process, once it is done, its job is done. And again, we don't need the process hereafter. That means we have to remove it from memory. So removing it from memory, we are going to call here as a freeing of memory. That is free space management. So we are having alloc and we are having dealloc. That means yeah, we can say constructor and we can say destructor. So when we are going to work with constructor function, we are going to allocate some memory there. When we are going to use a destructor function in C++ or in Java, whatever space the variable has occupied, that space we are going to remove it. That means once you have given a variable some memory location, then you are taking back that variable memory location. So allocation of a space, deallocation of a space. So that is where the freeing operation of going to take place. Similarly, there is a error has raised. So in that specified location that the troubleshooting has happened, you need to debug. So you should temporarily hold that space. So you are dumping that space. So debugger is nothing but your program has to be executed step by step, line by line. So first line, second line, third line. In this way, line by line, where the error has been done in a compiler. So you are going to debug that statements one after the other. There we are going to take this debugger, and the last one will be the lock mode. The lock mode. So I can remember. So we are having shared lock in DBMS. Then we are going to have a exclusive lock in DBMS. So if it is a shared lock, you can make a read operation and you can make a write operation. When we are going to make it as an exclusive lock, you can make only a write operation, and that too only people who are proprietary, who are the owners. So only those people they can make this exclusive operation. Nor if it is a shared lock, then definitely anybody can do a read operation or a write operation. So let us conclude our class for today. So we talked about the operating system and system calls, and we have given a discussion the definitions towards the system calls, and later we talked the three way of passing system calls between user mode to kernel mode. Then we talked we have begun this topic what are the different types of system calls, and the first type of system calls as a process of process management initiative. So in process management initiative, what will be the system calls? So this system calls we have highlighted. So this is for the day. So now we are concluding this class here for this day. So I'm going to say stopping my screen. So we have 165 students as turned for the attendance. So I'm stopping the recording here.